potentially one of the greatest compromises in convenience versus efficiency the automotive sector has seen in a long time. You see, the SUV market has totally exploded. It is one of the fastest growing segments. A lot of the biggest selling models do find themselves in there, and lots of people, whether they need a big car, want a big car, just want the image, or the posing power that a high riding car has. Some people may genuinely need the practicality. Either way, the fact of the matter is that these cars are actually quite polluting, and their popularity doesn't really help with the whole Britain going green ethos. But what we have here is a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. Now, what the important bit of that sentence is the last little abbreviation. PHEV stands for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which means this car does have a 2 litre petrol engine. It also has a battery in the boot and the ability to take fuel and charge via mains or a fast charging point. So in reality, what does that translate to? Well, it means that right now, whilst I'm driving along, I'm in an electric car. The whole car as a whole, even when using the petrol engine things under emissions testing, produces just 44 grams per kilometre of CO2, and that's predominantly because you can run this car for up to 32.5 miles in electric mode alone, which is actually really nice. It's very quiet, okay, a bit of tyre roar, but that's because there's no engine noise masking it, really. You get to enjoy all the benefits that an electric car offers, so as well as being exempt from the congestion charge and being absolutely tax-free, you get a real surge of torque from the electric motors, which obviously, unlike an engine, which builds up and through its torque band, an electric motor gives you all of its torque instantly because it's an on-off switch. Has regenerative braking to help charge the battery, but the predominant use, it's just kicked in now because I've just the battery has been put in a save mode at the moment, is the 2 litre petrol engine. Now, I don't know whether you could hear that because it's quite a quiet engine as it is, but the primary use of this 2 litre engine is as a generator to charge the battery. Now, I just touched on save mode. This car has 2 modes that are selectable down here. So when you're normally going about, you run on battery power until it gets down to a certain level, the petrol engine kicks in, charges up the battery as you go, turns off once the battery's at a sustainable level again. Down here we've got save mode. I pushed this just so I could have a little bit of a demonstration here with you. And in save mode, what that does is the engine will kick in to retain the amount of battery you've got there. So let's say you're going to go onto a motorway, okay? And you're going to be doing 70, 80 miles an hour. You can go all electric up to about 70, but obviously it becomes less and less efficient the higher speed you're travelling. If you want to save that battery power you've got for a town you are travelling to, so let's say I'm travelling, or a city, let's say I'm travelling from here to London, I'll hit the save mode, the engine will kick in and maintain, say, whatever, let's say there was 85% of the battery there, it will save that 85%, and then whenever I'm actually arrive at my destination, I can say, okay, turn that off, and just go all electric as usual. There's also a second mode here called charge, which means as I'm going along, regardless of the battery state, I can hit charge and the petrol engine starts up very seamlessly and charges the battery for me there. Now, whenever you're using really heavy acceleration, the car's petrol engine kicks in to join up with the battery in order to produce the extra grunt that you ask of it, which is a really nice way of doing things. So, like I say, this is sort of like a really fantastic compromise because you don't have that range anxiety of a pure electric car. You have the great fuel savings of an electric car, and if you, like me, whilst testing this car, a few of the days I've done, I haven't needed to go anywhere in particular. So if you do less than 30 miles, or 32.5 miles officially a day, and have a free charge point like I do near where I am, a fast charge, by the way, if you plug it in, it takes 40 minutes to charge the battery. So at the shops, I plug it in, I go shopping, I come back, the battery's charged, And what do you know? I'm running this car for free. It's only whenever you get onto the motorway that obviously the 2 litre petrol engine kicks in and it sort of achieves perfectly average fuel economy, because the batteries at that point are just a big heavy weight in the back. Some interesting points about this car. It costs £28,000, just over, okay, which is pound for pound exactly what the 2.2 litre diesel model of this car costs. What do you gain with the hybrid? It means that you don't pay road tax. If you're a business user, this is fantastic for you in terms of some of the exemptions that are available for you. If you're all in and out around London, this is ideal, isn't it? The only thing the diesel engine car does gain is an extra 2 seats in the back that fold out from the boot floor, because obviously this has some batteries there instead of 2 seats. There's plenty of room in the boot of this. That said, there's plenty of room in the back. The head and leg room is actually exceptional in the back. No one has complained about that this week, and it actually has for a 4-wheel drive car. Don't forget, this isn't just like an eco car in disguise. It has 4-wheel drive. There's even a locking differential if you were to take it off road. But the floor in the back is almost completely flat, which means you can actually use that middle seat for somebody of a reasonable size, unlike most cars where you sort of have to just straddle over the middle. As a whole, it's a really nice, comfortable, and especially in electric mode, relaxing car to drive. It's relatively good value. What else haven't I mentioned? Oh, these paddles here. They aren't for changing gear. They're there to change the amount of, well, not engine braking, but from the regenerative brakes. When you come off the throttle in an electric car, you get sort of like a natural inertia, a force that makes you lean forward, because the brakes are harvesting energy and it's slowing the car down a bit faster than it naturally would. This allows me to change how harsh that braking effect is. I usually leave it in its harshest mode, and you can sort of just factor that in whenever you're rolling up to a set of traffic lights, because you know the car slows down faster, so you hardly need to use the actual brake pedal at all. It's got a reversing camera. The interior, okay, interior quality in some areas could be a little bit better, but as a whole, with some of these sort of shiny finishes, everything's laid out quite logically. My only real big gripe with the car is that the sat-nav is not very logically laid out, and it's a little bit frustrating to use at times. It does serve its purpose, but I do think that maybe Mitsubishi could have spent a bit more time on the design and ergonomics of the system. But that little gripe aside, I thoroughly recommend you guys to go and check out this car for yourselves, because it is a fantastic engineering achievement and a really savvy move from Mitsubishi to take this technology to a market that, you know, ultimately could benefit from the fuel savings that the car has to offer.